guys, welcome to the channel. So today you're going to be learning how to cut a flay blouse, a sleeveless flay blouse with off shoulder design, and we'll be attaching a strap to it. So kindly watch if you want to learn. So we're going to be using this beautiful Ankara print, and I've gone ahead to cut 2 yards of fabric. So I'm going to be using 2 yards of fabric for this. So I folded it into two, like so, by the length of the Ankara. The Ankara comes by 45. So I folded it into two by the 2 yards that I cut. And then having done that, you take your Ankara and then you create like a triangle design, like so. I'm gonna move it a bit so you can see what I'm doing. So you create a triangle design like this. You fold it in a triangle, ensuring that you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have this unfold and you have two openings like so. So this is the side we'll be using for our armhole, and this is the side we'll be using for our neck. So just keep watching. Once I'm done with that, I start my measuring. I start my measurements and so I'm just going to ensure that I look for where my bust measurement divided by 4 plus whichever sewing allowance you want to add to it. So in this case, because I don't want it, I want it to be very free, I added 1 inch to it, and my bust divided by 4 plus 1 fell into where I'm measuring on now, which is 11.5, plus the 1 inch I got 12.5. So that is what I'm marking right now. So you can use a ruler to do this to make it straight. So that is where the 12.5 fell into, which is why I marked on that line. So once you've done that, you come up by 4 inches or 3 inches, depending on how you want your cleavage to show. That is, if you want your cleavage to show well, you can just come up by 2 inches. If you don't want it to show too much, you can come up by 3, but I came up by 4 inches. You're gonna see the end result. So you know that even the 4 inches isn't that bad, because this is an off-shoulder blouse, right? And you're still gonna be attaching a strap to it. So I've gone ahead to mark the 4 inches, which I came up for my bust line. So right now I want to measure my neck width. So now your neck width also depends on you, how you want it to be. So I marked 4 inches for my neck width. You can mark 5 inches. So it all depends on you, but the wider the better, since it's an off-shoulder blouse. So from there, I'm going to come down, roll my armhole. So I'm drawing my armhole now. You know, this is sleeveless and this is the armhole. So remember, it's an off shoulder, so the upper part has taken the other part of my armhole. So what I'm doing now is just, you can come down to draw your neck with your neck depth. You can come down by 3 inches, by 2 inches, depending on how deep you want your neck depth to be. So I came back down by 1 inch, and I'm just going to draw that like so. So if you want it straight, you might not draw anything. You can just cut straight on that line we drew. But if you don't want it straight, you could draw a curve and cut it out. So what I'm going to do now is to mark my length. So I'm marking the length of the gown, of the top rather. So depending on the measurements you want, that's what used to determine what you would cut. But I'm just following what I folded because I don't want to waste the rest of the fabric. So the length I got there was like 25 or so, 0.5. So I just made use of that because I don't want to waste the rest of the fabric. I just want to cut it as it is. But if you want it shorter, you can use the length you want. So just see how I place it round. So doing it this way will probably give you that eye low effect. It's gonna give you that eye low effect. So if you don't want the eye low effect, you can start your measurement from the upper part of the where the triangle starts from to give you that very curved um flay. But the way I did it now, it's gonna give you the eye low effect. That is, I started from my neck point, right? So I'm gonna ahead now to cut it carefully. So I just went ahead to check if everything was flat so that I don't cut what I'm not supposed to cut, basically. So I'm going ahead to cut it carefully now. So like I said, the way I cut it gave me the eye-low effect. If you want it to be really, really curved, then you start from the triangular part, that is the upper part of the folded fabric. So right now I'm done cutting what I need and I've just put the rest of the fabric aside. I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of the things I need. So I'm cutting the neck now and I'm going to go ahead and cut the armhole. So depending on how you want your strap to be, if you don't want your strap to be too obvious, you can just cut it as I've drawn it. But if you want your strap to have another design, like you want it to go up a little bit, you can just come up by depending on how you want it to be. So I just came up by 1 inch and just came out a little bit by 1 inch as well because I want to cut a strap that is that big on it. I actually changed my mind later on anyways, but so depending on how you want it, you can always determine this before you cut it out, right? So you can see I've gone ahead to cut the armor as well and I'm slitting that part that was on fold. I'm slitting it and this is going to give us two pieces for front and the back. So now we're done cutting our flay blouse. So I'm going to attach my strap to where I just pointed to. So I have like let's say 1 inch there. So I'm going to cut my strap to be 1 inch as well. But once you sew the armhole with bias and all that, everything's still going to come down to maybe 0.5. So it all depends on how you want. If you want it to be exactly 1 inch, please add your allowance before you cut out. So this is how it looks. You can see. So I haven't opened it up. When you open it up and you see that you don't like what you've gotten, you can change your neck design. But I just left it that way. You're gonna see the end result. It didn't show like that on my body after sewing. So it came out really looking well. So remember this was cut on a bias fold. So I'm gonna go ahead now and put my bias on the neck, the armhole. But before I do that, I'm just going to join the side so that I don't have to join my bias like 2 times at the armhole region. So I'm going to go close the sides and come back. So right now I'm done joining the sides, the two sides. I'm done joining it. So I'm showing you guys how it looks now. So you can see it's already taking shape. So I'm just going to go ahead now and join the bias. You can use a bias or use your fabric to cut the bias. So I'm going to go ahead now and attach the straps. So I'm going to attach my straps. So for the strap, you can cut like 11 inches, 12 inches, or if you want it to be like the type you tie, you can make it longer. So you also add your bias along with it. So guys, I'm done attaching the bias. As you can see, I've attached the bias at the neck region, the back, the sides, the armhole and the neck. So I've gone to attach my bias. You can also use your fabric to cut the bias. So it all depends on you. So I'm gonna go ahead now to attach my strap. The first thing I did was to attach my bias. So right now I want to measure my strap. So I'm just going to measure what I need. So I'm going to be measuring 12 inches here. You can measure 11 inches. And you can also make it longer in case you want to tie your straps, like you want it to be the type you'll be able to tie. You can make it like 18. So this one I'm not going to be tying it, so I use 12 inches inclusive of sewing allowance and all. So I use 12 inches and you cut it on the size you want. That is, if you want it 1 inches big, if you want it 2 inches big, cut it like that. So I've gone ahead to cut 1 inch by 12 inches. So guys, I've gone ahead to attach these straps and you can see how beautiful it is looking. You can see the neckline is already looking like a proper neckline, unlike how it was looking before. So next thing I'm gonna do now is to just go to my machine and sew the hem. I'm gonna fold it carefully to ensure that it looks really nice. So guys, see how it turned out. It's so beautiful.